Supervisor Wareheim,
Here.
Councilman McCarthy,
Here.
Councilwoman Nowick,
Here.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Here.
Councilman Loman.
Yeah.
Okay, Deputy Clerk, we will start sitting as Board of Water Commissioners.
The first thing on the agenda is the minutes approval from November 18th. Secondly, the Board of Water Commissioners to authorize the following. The first one is a transfer between ledger accounts. And the next three resolutions are to authorize the supervisor to sign agreements. Number 2 and 4 are an agreement between H2M Architect and Engineers for lead and copper rule support services. One is for the Smithtown Water District and the other is for the St. James Water District. And number 3 is an agreement with New York State Department of Transportation for the relocation and adjustment to facilities owned by the Smithtown Water District, which is required for the Department of Transportation capital improvement project within the town.
Councilman Loman. Councilman, unmute.
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Nowick,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yeah. That concludes Water Commissioner agenda, and we will move to reconvene Town Board. And Deputy Clerk, we will move to the agenda.
First thing is a correspondence, building department report for November 2021. And we have 2 public hearings today. The first is for the town board to consider entry onto property located at 57 Main Street in Kings Park, owned by Bravado Enterprises. The purpose is regarding violations of Chapter 112 of the Town Code. And Assistant Town Attorney Martin Simon is here and he will describe the violations.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. Mr. Supervisor, members of the Town Board, my name is Martin Simon, Assistant Town Attorney for the Town of Smithtown. Today's public hearing number 1 is concerning the town's entrance onto the property at 57 Main Street, Kings Park, New York, for the purpose of removing or remediating the structure at that property that's been deemed unsafe by William White, the town's building director. This building is on Main Street in Kings Park, also known as 25A, and it had previously had Dr. D'Antona there. I believe he was a podiatrist. And this building had suffered a fire in December of 2017. And that was kind of the beginning of of this building's integrity. And that is what led to the unsafe finding by the building director in September of this year. What stands out about this building is that it has no roof right now. It does have truss structures there where under where the roof would have been, but there is no roof. So what I'd like to do is just show you a picture taken this morning of the building. And can everyone see that?
Not yet.
Okay. How's that?
No picture. Oh yeah, we have it now.
Okay. That is a picture taken by one of our building inspectors this morning, and that shows the issue. There is no roof at the property. It's been like this for approximately 3 years, just about 4. And how this building had also come to light was there were some property maintenance issues out on Main Street. Those have largely been remediated, but now we're left with this building with no roof. So let me just stop the share. Okay. So what has happened is after the building director sent out the notice of unsafe structure, we did hear, or I did hear from a Mr. Morello. He's a lawyer for Bravado Enterprises number 2 LLC. That's the property owner. And one of the members is Dr. D'Antona. I believe he's a speaker today. He'd like to address the board concerning this issue. But the lawyer and I have spoken a few times. He sent me a letter last week and they have an engineer ready to go. It appears as though they now have financing and they are ready to get this building back to what it should be and to certainly remediate the unsafe conditions. So that all being said, it is the town attorney's opinion that the property owner be giving 30 days to make significant progress in remediating these unsafe conditions. And if he does not do that, 30 days from now, we will put on the resolution to enter upon the property and demolish the structure. Does anybody have any questions?
What is the stipulations to making the building safer?
That is something that myself, the attorney for the property owner, and Mr. White are going to meet about immediately after this week, hopefully, to go over exactly what Mr. White expects from the property owner.
Any other questions by the board? Okay, in that case, Nicole, I believe the attorney wishes to speak on this public hearing.
Sure, Supervisor, the attorney or Mr. D'Antona,
Either one, whoever wishes to speak on the on this public hearing.
okay, I will, I'm gonna let them both in.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Mr. Supervisor, Council?
Yes, we can.
I don't know if I sent the link to my client, Mr. D'Antona. I don't
I'm
see
here.
him.
He's on.
Okay. I mean, I would like to speak and I could have my client come on if you would wish to fill in the gaps, because I'm relatively new to the proceeding. I've only been called on board for about a month or so. But I'd sent a letter to Mr. Simon outlining the history of the building. There was a fire outside of the building on a sign that unfortunately progressed to the inside of the building. And you saw the pictures as to the destruction that it caused. This was in December of 2017. The doctor has been a member of the community for a long time. He had his practice there. Following the fire, he relocated his practice while the building was to be rebuilt to Lindenhurst, which caused some problems because my understanding is a lot of his clients were not willing to travel that far. So he lost some of his income. And then on top of that, then the COVID hit, which required his practice to shut down for some time. I did forward this morning to Mr. Simon some plans. Some plans were originally submitted to the town and the town wanted the plans revised. Permits were pulled, floor plan was done, and there was some studies done by an engineer with regard to the foundation. Mr. D'Antona relocated his practice back into Kings Park. COVID is winding its way down. The construction prices have come down significantly, thankfully, following the COVID pandemic. And he's ready to proceed to rebuild the building and relocate his practice there as it was before. We're willing to work with the town and provide whatever information they're required to show this. And I would encourage a meeting just so we could all be on the same page as what they would be looking for within the next 30 days from myself and my client, so as to allow my client to rebuild in accordance with the plans that have been submitted. I think there was one issue with the permit may need to be renewed, but other than that, my understanding is that he's ready to move forward. And if Mr. D'Antona would be allowed to speak, just to fill in any information that's either requested or required or that I may have missed.
Well, thank you, Steve. And listen, everyone, thank you very much for hearing this. And I do apologize that this has taken so long. You know, I love the town. I've been a part of that town, working on the people there for almost a dozen years now. And I'm just really sorry that it got to this. But I am ready to go. And we have to now just go forward with the ordering of the steel and things like that. But I'm just trying to do everything that I possibly can to try to get this done and taken care of as quickly as possible.
Good.
Okay, Councilor, Mr. D'Antona, thank you very much. So just so we're clear, our understanding is that you will meet with our town attorney and our building officials, and we will see substantial movement within the next 30 days to at least begin the repair or renovation of the building to make it a safe structure, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions by the board?
I just have one question. What's there right now? Is it all salvageable? We don't know that.
Oh, My understanding is.
Are you going to, like, is there a plan to level it and start from new or? Okay,
Oh, no, it's remediation. Remediation. The walls are sound and so is the structure. Now we just got to get a roof put on. That's the first step, to seal it from the elements.
okay, thank
That's
you.
my understanding.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, one thing with the building, we have to make sure that the walls are shored up because they're just standing and they're possibly can get blown down by the wind onto the existing sidewalk. That's going to have to be remediated immediately.
Okay, Counselor, you heard the councilman. I believe that's something you could work on right away. There has been concerns about that in a heavy wind, that the walls are not stable. So if they could be shored up ASAP, and then we can move forward with the rest of your plans.
I think one other thing, Mr. Supervisor, probably a structural engineer or someone come in and certify that those walls are safe to be rebuilt on also.
Okay, well, Mr. Martin, you could work on that detail with Mr. White.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, Councilman McCarthy, we're going to address all those issues when we have our meeting with the property owner and his lawyer, along with the building department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Nicole, do we have anyone else that wishes to speak on this public hearing?
Yes, Supervisor, we have Edward and Kathy Cuff. I'm gonna ask them to unmute themselves. Give them a second. Okay.
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Hi, how
Okay,
are you?
yes, good. This is Eddie and Kathy Cuff. We live on Thompson Street, and we've been living with that vacant building for 4 years. I've made numerous calls over that time frame for various reasons. One, it's unsightly. I sit on my front porch, and I got a beautiful view of a burned out building.
For 4 years.
For 4 years. On an unrelated note, I had a burned out building across the street from me for 2 years that after numerous calls finally got rectified. I was told over that period of time that they can't do anything with the building because they're waiting for sewers. And now sewers are supposedly coming in July. But for us to say, okay, we're going to give them 30 days notice, we're given 30 days and have substantial improvement. I don't know what substantial improvement is. The building is not secure. I responded to that fire because I'm a fireman in town. And the roof, while the roof is gone now, the building is not secure. It's unsightly. And for myself and my neighbors, for 4 years to drive down that road and see a vacant, burned out building with plywood that at times have been pried out because I assume people are trying to get in there for some reason. It's really unacceptable. My taxes haven't gone down as a result of living down the road from a burned out building. And now I'm disappointed to hear, okay, well, they're going to promise us, they're going to have substantial improvement within 30 days. The owner says that the walls are secure. If they're secure, we would need to have an engineer determine that they're secure. And now we're going to hear to say, well, we'll get an engineer there to verify that they are secure. Well, what about high winds? It seems to me that we've been kicking the can down the road for 4 years. And, you know, I know, Mr. Wareheim, you've spoken Smithtown News about the thriving and bustling downtown, but you can't have a thriving and bustling downtown with a burned out vacant building for 4 years. And it's unsightly for the business community, but this business community is surrounded by a residential properties. So you've got, you know, Thompson, you've got Renwick, you got Carlson, you got Henry Street, you got other areas that are just within a stone's throw from this building. And realistically, this should have been done a long time ago. We know the situation with COVID, and we're understanding and building expenses and things like that. But I couldn't, if my house burned down, God forbid, would the town wait for me 4 years and give me a grace period and say, oh, you know, well, he's trying.
It's time, like 30 days and then another 30 days.
I don't want to be pacified with somebody coming in and saying, you know, I'm trying our best. Okay, give me 30 days. And then without even, we don't have an engineer's report saying the structure is safe. After 4 years, we don't have an engineer's report to say the structure is safe. And then we're going to give 30 days for an undefined substantial improvement. What does substantial improvement mean? That should be defined.
Mr.
Otherwise, how
Collins,
can we measure progress if we don't have a measuring?
what I would suggest is, as our attorney Martin Simon stated, he's going to be meeting with the building owner. Our engineers will be meeting with our building officials, and they will do that expeditiously. And they'll come back to myself and the town board with the report. And at that point, we could recontact you and we can explain exactly what the process looks like going forward.
But now, didn't we have you quoted in Smithtown News as saying you did not get responses from the building owner over that period of time?
No, that's
And
not.
if that's the case, what assurances do we have now that we're going to get it at?
Well, as you heard this public hearing, if we don't have, or we're not satisfied with substantial changes in the next 30 days, then the town board will come in and remediate the building. So I would guess the applicant, the property owner isn't going to want that to happen. It would appear to me that we're at this point, we followed our proper procedures. And if in fact the building owner is not making substantial changes and satisfies us with ordering of material, shoring up of walls, et cetera, then the town board will make a vote to go in and take the building down.
But could I ask though, rather than using the word substantial improvement, could we have some definition in terms of what those expectations are? Because substantial improvement on your end may be very different than the building owner's end.
Well, I think
we should have some mechanism to measure progress.
right, and I believe we will have some type of schedule set after they meet on site and we determine what we want done and we let the building owner and his attorneys know that's what we want done immediately, and we'll put some kind of schedule together that satisfies us as well. Our intention is to work with this building owner, and that's the purpose of this public hearing, to let them know that we will either take the building down or we want the building reconstructed up to proper codes so that it is safe and it can be operable once again.
And Supervisor, if Mr. and Mrs., I think their name was Cuff, want to reach out to me, we're more than happy to tell them when we're going to meet and what the results of the meeting are and what we're looking to have the property owner do once we have that meeting.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Just you do that, contact Mr. Martin Simon.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Cole, do we have anyone else wish to speak on this public hearing?
No one in chat, Supervisor. I'll just ask the folks who are in the participant screen, if you cannot raise your hand, you can just type your name in the chat function and I'll call on you. I'll give you another minute. I think we're in the clear, Supervisor.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Counselor, Mr. D'Antona. Thank you. And I will move to close the hearing.
Second. Much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Supervisor Wareham,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack,
Yes.
Councilwoman Indirella,
Yes.
Councilman Loman.
Yes.
Okay, the second hearing is for the town board to consider proposed amendments to chapter 322 of the town code regarding definition of terms. Peter Hans, director of our planning department, will present the amendments.
Good afternoon, Supervisor and members of the town board. Today we are holding a public hearing for a proposed zoning ordinance amendment to modify the definition of a garden apartment. I'm going to share screen just to bring it up. Everyone able to see the screen?
Yes. We are.
Okay. The proposal is a slight modification so as to allow greater flexibility in the architecture and design. The definition currently states that a garden apartment cannot exceed 2.5 stories and that a building cannot have more than 16 units in a building. These requirements are reiterated also in the table of dimensional regulations, which I'll also show. And are proposed. So in the table of dimensional regulations, we're not proposing any changes. Heights will stay the same, gross floor area, maximum number of stories. We just merely want it out of the definition. The requirements do not belong in the definition, and this would be similar to any other definition, such as an office building being limited to 1,000 square feet or something like height. We've also taken this opportunity to correct the definition of a townhouse structure and to correct the declaration of policy for the RC zoning district. This is being done so as to comply with current housing requirements, since the town cannot restrict housing to town residents only. This is basically my presentation, unless the board has any questions about this.
No.
Are there any questions by the board?
No.
Nicole, do we have anyone who wishes to speak on this public hearing?
Yes, Patty Stoddard. Give her a second to unmute. Oh, yep, Patty, you are unmuted.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I was just curious as to, why this change was occurring, and I think it was explained, but I just want to be reaffirmed that there are no other changes as far as 2.5 stories and the number of units and all that stuff. That's going to remain the same, correct?
I can answer, yes, absolutely.
Okay, and you said there is a list of requirements. Where can they be found?
It's the town's table of dimensional regulations. We have copies on the front counter of the planning department, but it's also on the website.
Okay.
It has all the zoning districts for all the districts of the town. So whether you're residential, commercial, industrial,
Okay.
it's the same. I could put the screen back up.
Okay, sounds good. And I just want to give a shout out to say hello to you guys. Miss you, as I'm sure you do me. But I wish you all happy holidays and happy new year and everything, and hope to see you in person soon.
You too.
Thank you.
Anyone else, Nicole?
No, Supervisor, I don't see anybody else.
Okay, in that case, I will move to close this hearing.
Second.
Thank you.
Supervisor Wareheim,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy, Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
and Councilman Loman.
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the consent agenda controllers, number 1 to 29. And there's one consent resolution along with the minutes of November 18th.
Hey, is anyone on the town board wish to remove any resolutions from the consent agenda?
no,
Oh,
No.
No.
Okay, Mr.
Councilman Loman,
yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Town board to issue a CEQA negative declaration determination in the matter of the town board's own motion to adopt the 2022 capital budget and proposed funding plan dated December 2nd, 2021, and in the manner of a change of zone petition 2021-02 from PJ Venture for a filling station on property located on the north side of Henry Street, 710 feet east of Crooked Hill Road in Comac.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Authorize the town clerk to advertise for bid 21-100 outboard motors, parts and services.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Novick,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Award the following bids and authorize the purchase of associated goods and services. Bid 2195, Office cleaning services to National Commercial Building Services LLC, 2196 Portland cement powder to Elm Transit Mix, and 2192 the annual supply bid for lumber and building materials to Cider Lumber and Supply Company.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
yes,
Supervisor Wareham.
Yes.
The town board to approve the following. The adoption of the 2022 capital budget with proposed funding sources and 2023 to 2026 capital program. An extension of agreement with Health Shore Medical Services for medical examinations and related services for various town departments. Extension of agreement with Center for Workplace Solutions to provide workplace investigation services for the 2021-22 term. Extension of bid 2008 asphalt resurfacing with Suffolk Paving Corp. The town attorney or appropriate official to enter into a stipulation of settlement or agreement and a consent to the entry of an order with regard to various tax certiorari matters. Authorize the controller to loan cash funds from the A fund to HO5 fund. Ratification of the supervisor's execution of a professional consulting services agreement with Laura Grief relating to the administration of the Smithtown Senior Center for a period of 7 days. A renewal of the annual maintenance and support agreement with Granicus for legislative management. An amendment to resolution 19772 to reflect the change of time of the 10/4/22 town meeting from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The next two resolutions are amendments to the CSCA collective bargaining agreement. The first is regarding the title of payroll supervisor, and the second is the title of principal environmental analyst. An amendment to the agreement with the Research Foundation for the State University of New York at Stony Brook for services concerning the delineation of the high water mark, extending the term of the agreement through June 30th, 2022. An assignment of an agreement regarding hearing reporting services for the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Board from Rick Rigabona to Darlene Devlin. Approve retaining the services of John Geish, Realty Appraisal Incorporated, to perform an appraisal of property at 261 Cambon Avenue in St. James and 281 Mauritius Road, also in St. James, at a cost not to exceed $5,900. Approve the cybersecurity policy for 2021 to 2022. And the last item is to approve the sale of items which were deemed acceptable by the Director of Traffic Safety from an auction number 26218 ended October 25th and auction 27027, which ended December 10th.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
yes,
Supervisor Wareham.
Yes.
The town board to issue a written consistency determination pursuant to chapter 151 of the town code that application 2021-15 for 143 Oakside Drive is consistent with the local water revitalization plan, subject to conditions as stated by the town planning director.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
yes,
Supervisor Wareham.
Yes.
The town board to approve zoning petition 2021-02 submitted by PJ Venture to change the zone of a portion of parcel from shopping center business to neighborhood business in order to permit a filling station. The approval is subject to conditions as stated in a memo dated 10/28/21 by the planning board. The property is located on the north side of Henry Street, 710 feet east of Crooked Hill Road in Comac.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
yes,
Supervisor Wareham.
Yes.
Authorize the acceptance of the following: a donation from Cheryl Milliken in the amount of $100 to the senior center, a donation from the Stop and Shop Community Bag Program in the amount of $155 to the animal shelter, and a donation from Logan Norris for $285 to the animal shelter.
Councilman Loman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
yes,
Councilwoman Noah,
yes,
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
Authorize the supervisor to execute the following resolutions on a form approved by the town attorney. A lease agreement with the Smithtown Township Arts Council with respect to the Mills Pond House for a 5-year term, effective September 17th, 2021 through September 16th, 2026, at an annual fee of $1. A satisfaction of mortgages for participating home improvement clients that are received and referred by the Planning and Community Development Department by December 31st, 2022. Renewal rates for HIP Prime HMO coverage and HIP VIP Medicare coverage for the period beginning January 1st to December 31st, 2022. A contract of sale concerning the town's proposed sale of surplus real property at 430 Wireless Boulevard in Hauppauge at a sale price of $212,600 to Robert Fitzsimmons, and it's subject to permissive referendum. An agreement with Health Equity to administer the town's flexible spending accounts effective January 1st, 2022. Consulting service agreement with Standard Valuation Services for the analysis and assessment of a proposal to enter into a 50-year communication easement agreement with SBA Communications Corporation. Submit an application regarding Tree City USA certification for continued management of the Urbis Forest management of street trees throughout Smithtown. An agreement with Crown Castle for a dedicated fiber optic line. And the last is an agreement with Cataldo Grasso Architects to provide professional architectural service for the renovation of the Sportsman Lounge at the Landing Country Club at a cost not to exceed $26,000.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
Approved settlement per the town attorney with Stephen Schranner for $515.97.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
The town board to authorize the issuance of bonds number 1 to 18 as described on the agenda.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes.
And the last item is personnel matters, number 1 to 13, also described on the agenda.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Supervisor Warehouse.
Yes. That concludes resolutions. Nicole, we will move to the public participation portion. Do we have anyone out there that wishes to speak on any town matter?
No, Supervisor.
We do not. In that case, I will move to close the meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Warehouse,
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noah,
Yes.
Councilwoman Zarella,
Yes.
Councilman Bowman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Stay safe.